I'm Mark Romanek. This week, Fishing 411 rocks. In fact, literally it rocks. We're on our way to a place called Stannard Rock in the middle of Lake Superior with a guest of Kimar's shelter-based charter. Stick around and see if we can get the job done today.
Offshore Tackle presents Fishing 411 with Mark Romanek.
Gobbled up there. Look at that, he's in the bag.
Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, your leader in trolling technology. Vicious Fishing, Jay's Sporting Goods, Get in Gear, Okuma, High Performance, Yakima Bait Company, home of the Rooster Tail, Starcraft Marine, Evinrude Outboards, and by Anchor Wizard.
Long stick.
There you go, Jakers.
Yeah, I think that was in the first 5 minutes too, right?
I don't know.
11 minutes and 2 seconds. Not that I'm counting.
You got your way here, son.
There you go.
How's it feel now? That's the important thing.
Feels pretty good.
I don't think it's a start.
It's a fish, right? I'm all about that.
It tastes good on the grill.
I'm anxious to see what
It's gonna take thick leg core. It's gonna take forever to get in. So deep.
That was indeed a trout. Jakers, way to go, buddy.
That's a good one, huh? That's cool.
Oh, outstanding.
That's a pretty That's awesome. Better stay out of your way, eh?
We swam up at you there.
Oh, yeah.
Pumper.
There
There
he
he
is.
is, son.
Oh, is that for me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a nice trout, Matthew. That's a good one, dude.
Look at the fish. That's the trip fish right there.
Oh,
Look at that.
oh,
Yeah! Way to go.
Wow! Wow!
Look at that. Wow.
Wow, is that a trout?
Around 15.2, I think.
Wow. All right.
Oh, 15 and a half, I'll give them.
This particular trip was set in a place called Shelter Bay, which is about halfway between Munising and Marquette, Michigan, on Lake Superior. And our host was Kimar's Resort, and they have not only a resort, but also they run charter trips out to Stannard Rock. And Stannard Rock is the place to go if you want these big lake trout.
Stannard Rock was discovered in the mid-1800s by freighter captain Charles Stannard. Believe it or not, he didn't run aground on it. He saw it off in the distance and headed over that way because he could see the rocks sticking up and all this, taking soundings, and all of a sudden, it's really shallow here. So when they built the lighthouse several years later, they said that it was one of the greatest dangers to shipping on the Great Lakes at the time. They built the lighthouse, and it's my understanding that at the time it was the most expensive lighthouse ever built in the world. And I believe it was like $300,000, but in the mid-1800s, that's a lot of money.
Well, we're all cranking up, getting ready to move, and this fish was following old Jaker up to the top of the boat, and he brought his bait into the boat, and I was still cranking mine up. I looked down, and then here he came, and he grabbed right a hold of my bait, and I hooked him, and it It wasn't much of a fight, but he brought him right into the net.
Well, now's a good opportunity to take a second and talk a little bit about how we're catching these fish. Big jigs. We're in deep water right now. I don't know if that's going to stay this way throughout the course of the day, but we're jigging in as much as 200 feet of water. In order to reach bottom in that kind of water, you need a big jig. 1.5 ounce, 2 ounce, even maybe a 3 ounce jig in order to do that. The jig I've got tied on here right now, and I'm going to take this tail off that was on here that I just caught this fish on, is called a Cobra, Esox Cobra. This is actually a jig designed for muskie and pike fishing, but it's working very nicely for what we're doing for lake trout fishing. Just tipping them with these action tails. This happens to be a swim bait with a big paddle tail on it, and you see the trout bit the tail right off from this one. So I'm going to take that one off and go ahead and put a fresh one on here. And all you got to do is just thread them on just the way you would any type of soft plastic tail. Get it on there the way I want it. Nice sharp hooks. Thread that up on the shank there. Okay. And that's the basic setup. And in order to make it just a little bit more enticing to these lake trout, particularly since the water's cold, it's only 39-degree water, so it's icy cold, I'm going to reach over here and just grab a little chunk of this sucker meat that Captain Rick has pulled out here for us, and just add a little strip of sucker meat on there, just for a little enticement. And that skin is on there, so it makes that little strip very durable. That's all it takes to catch these big lake trout out here. Jig, a little action tail, and a little sweetener of some sucker meat. Let's go see if we can get another one.
Additional considerations provided by Cummings Nets. Quality nets since 1927.
Fishing tackle. We can't make your fishing days longer.
No doubt. We're going to do it.
Instead, we pack more enthusiasm, ambition, and fun into every minute.
What we're looking for, look at him go.
Woo! Nice.
Inspiring design, stunning performance.
What you got, John?
Fish on.
It's your day. Let's make the most of it together.
Woo, baby.
Next one's yours.
All right, let's go get another one.
Considerations provided by O.J. Herman Company and Wolverine Tackle.
Now you can fish at Stannard Rock, throughout most of the open water season. You can be out there in May and June and July and August and all the way into September and October if you want. The big limitation is weather and whether you can get there or not. 50 miles offshore, and Lake Superior is a pretty ugly body of water. So this place doesn't get a lot of fishing pressure, even though the season is long. Very few boats make it out there. We saw 1 to 2 boats a day, and it was very calm during prime time, and we were fishing towards the end of June, which is end of June and throughout the month of July is considered to be prime time.
You were bent too, buddy.
Oh, my dear.
You were stuck.
That was... Oh, you did it
again. Well, you maybe have a bunch of them.
Three's a charm. Three's a charm. Use it again.
How far down were you?
Right on the bottom. Right on the bottom.
There you go. All right, Mark.
Finally. I'm hoping that's the same fish. One very aggressive, very suicidal lake trout. That's an orange head with that white paddle tail. These jigs we're using are actually not designed for trout fishing. These are actually designed for muskie and pike fishing. They're called Esox Cobras. And all I did was cut the...
Double. Just double.
Double? We got a double header going? Cam's got one.
Oh, my goodness. That's Stannard Rock. rock.
Spectacular.
Wow. You should be coming up here quick because that's my jig.
I wonder if this is the same fish that I missed on the
Feel like
first
a
one.
good one, Mark.
It's not a big fish. I think this is about the size of a fish like what Jake caught. It's so hard to tell
This
what
one's
this far down
in the box. I think.
Yep. There it comes. In between. It's not a big one. Come to Papa here, baby. There you go. Nice fish. Very, very
Absolutely.
nice.
You know, Cedro's working pretty good. Yeah, he hit it twice. And he's coming at me.
Yeah, he's spinning. You got him spinning circles.
Yeah, he's...
Nice fish.
Again, he was right on the bottom, and he hit it, dropped it, hit it again, started bringing it up, and he nailed it. So, I mean, they're really aggressive. So once they get a taste of that, you know, little piece of sucker meat on there, and you see the paddle tail, they nail it. But about 200 foot of water.
Remind myself to watch when somebody's bringing up. Almost every time somebody's brought a bait up, we've had a trout follow. There's fish. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big thumper. Man, I love this. This is fun. You know, I suppose a guy could come out here and troll up these lake trout. But what makes this unique and special is where are you going to go and jig up lake trout like this? This is really unique and cool. It's definitely a bigger fish than I caught the first time. Man, I love this. The basic outfit you're going to have if you're going to come out here and do this, you need about a 7-foot spinning rod. Medium heavy would be about right. 15 to 20-pound test braid. And what we've done is we've tied a fluorocarbon leader on here of about 15-pound test on the fluorocarbon leader. And that's really actually been just about ideal. Caught fish up to 20 pounds today, which is phenomenal. I can feel it flubber right into my shoulder. Man, this is pretty heavy. Just start to see it down there. Phew. Look at that big fish. Oh, come to Papa.
Nice.
Now there's a trout. Where are you going to go and jig up a trout of this caliber? I'm telling you what, Stannard Rock has really got it going on. This is so unique, so cool. And, you know, and kind of, this is not the kind of place you're going to come with your own gear. You know, if you've got a walleye type boat or something of that nature, I suppose a guy could get here, but realistically, this is something you need a bigger boat for. You're probably going to want a little help. You're going to probably want to book a charter. That's probably going to be the best lake trout I catch this year. You know, interestingly, lake trout are actually not even trout. They're actually members of the char family, and they're one of the slowest growing fish that we have in the Great Lakes region. I shudder to even think how old this fish is. 20, 25, could be 30-year-old fish. Fish like this are a tremendous resource, absolutely a tremendous resource. And it's something that every fisherman owes it to themselves. At least once in your fishing career, get out to Stannard Rock and catch yourself some of these amazing, absolutely amazing lake trout.
Additional considerations provided by Mustang Survival and Bait Rigs Tackle.
I'm Mark Romanek. If you've got a fishing boat, you need to anchor it. And let me tell you, the Anchor Wizard is the ultimate boat anchoring system. Help you catch more fish like
These
this.
These are not just socks. These are opening day socks. These are the same socks that Mitch Taylor's worn for over 12 years. Sure, some might say it's superstitious, but at Jay's Sporting Goods, we simply say it's tradition. So before you hit the woods, make Jay's a part of your tradition. Jay's is your one stop for the advice and gear you need for a successful hunt. We even have socks. That's the tradition of Jay's.
Repower now with a new Evinrude E-Tech, and you can save up to $1,600 per year in operating costs. Compared to your old outboard, a new Evinrude E-Tech uses up to 44% less fuel and 50% less oil. And it's up to 50% quieter. Evinrude E-Tech is the only outboard that requires no dealer-scheduled maintenance for 3 years. It requires no break-in period and no oil changes ever. Evinrude E-Tech.
Additional considerations provided by Savage Gear.
Well, we opted to take a charter trip because Stannard Rock is, first of all, it's about 50 miles from the mainland. And the rock itself, or the reef itself, is about 5 miles long. So there's a lot of water out there to fish. And, if you didn't know what you were doing or where you were going, you could very easily spend a lot of time out there and not find these trout. We hooked up with Rick O'Neill, and I'm telling you what, the guy's been doing it about 20 years. He really knows his lake trout. He had all these spots on his GPS that he could go and check, and lo and behold, when we got to those spots, they all had fish on them. We just had a great time.
All right. Just come off.
Just came back in.
I'm going to keep right over here. You ready? Nice crab.
I can see mine. I'd say mine's probably about that. About that and worry about cutting off on this. I'm just going to grab this. Got lucky on that one, got a good grip on it. Very, very good.
First piece of meat on there, Mark.
Yeah, it helps. A little fresh meat. The wave conditions today are pretty phenomenal. Lake Superior is famous for being rough. To be able to have virtually flat seas like this is just a blessing. It's also been helping our jigging because we don't need to use as heavy a jigs to maintain contact with the bottom. We're getting just absolutely precise bottom control right now. And a lot of these fish today happen to be on the bottom. So today it's just been a stellar experience. Absolutely stellar. Now this is the trout that the Cameron just caught. Very nice fish. Pretty typical of what we've caught today. I'm going to put him in the cooler here and close it. Now let me show you what came out of him. That's a herring. Look at the size of that herring. That's exactly the bait that these fish are feeding on. So to give you an idea of how aggressive a predator a lake trout is, they're tremendous predators, and they're going to eat big forage when they can find it. So these big jigs and these big trailers that we're using, they're not anywhere near too big. Look at that. We're going to take this and cut this up and use this to bait to catch more lake trout. That's a beautiful thing.
Additional considerations provided by Bert's Custom Tackle.
Vicious fishing, it's just what it says. It's fishing, fishing. It makes no difference what you're after. Yeah. He's not giving up without a fight. He's got nature on his side. It's where his vicious streak comes from. You need a line just as vicious. He's going home to tell all his boys he had you beat before the game started. Get vicious.
Hey, while times are tough, you can still take a dream fishing vacation with friends or family at a reasonable price within a short drive from home.
Look to Northwest Ontario. It's got trophy walleye, small and largemouth bass, northern pike, lake trout, brook trout, and mussel. In fact, there are more lakes than people in this pristine region of Canada.
This is a place that has everything you're looking for and more.
Northwest Ontario, Canada. There's no place like this.
Fishing 411 is brought to you in part by Lawrence Electronics.
Our first day was just absolutely flat calm, which is rare on Lake Superior. So we really enjoyed that. With the boat drifting very slowly, we had nearly perfect bottom control for our jigging, and it made for just a great trip for us. The second day was a little bit windier, not bad, but certainly a little windier. We had to put the sea bags in order to slow down our drift. We still caught lots of nice fish, but the ride coming in got a little bumpy. And that goes with the par for the course, so to speak, when you're on Lake Superior. You're going to deal with some big water, you're going to deal with some big waves.
22.
Nice. Big one.
22.
21. Yeah, 22-3, I said. Yep.
22. Very nice, Jake.
There he is.
Oh, that's very good fish. Exactly what we're looking for.
And we've got quite a few fish on the graft, and just had the jig down there for a couple minutes, and he nailed it. So I hit it hard. Yeah, the new Citrix. The Citrix is handling pretty good. It's a medium heavy. I don't think it's heavy enough, eh?
I think those are the ones you're going to have to set us up with.
Holy cow. What a fish.
This is a bass.
He just wants to go to the bottom.
Safe place for him.
He'll tire out eventually. He tires out first.
I don't want to get spooled here, though. I'm going to let you know.
If it does, I'll just circle.
Yeah.
It's like it's when you're fishing cages, you got some boat to circle. There you go. Oh,
oh, baby.
No pain, no gain.
No place for a bad rotator cuff on this one. So I've got one. I've got them in both shoulders, too.
I thought you were making fun of my dad.
No.
You see him?
You see him, Mark?
No, I haven't seen him yet.
I'm up here and I don't see him yet, so... Oh, I see some. I see him.
Okay.
Wow. Oh, baby. Look at this. Look at this trout. Oh, fantastic. Oh, Lord. Oh.
Open the box there.
Oh, my goodness. Holy cow. Is that a trout? Oh, my goodness.
Owner, that's a 30. That's a 30.
Wow. That is a fish of a lifetime.
Oh, my God.
He is there. Oh, my goodness.
30 pounds, 8 ounces.
Oh, all right. Pounder.
All right.
And I think I had another fish on. And I was bringing it up. And all of a sudden the rod went down again. And I thought, well, the fish was swimming at me, but I think another one grabbed it, see? Like you said, Rick, sometimes the big ones will follow the other ones up, eh?
Yep.
For the bait, they're to
Did
get
it
rid
feel
of.
that heavy at first?
Oh, my goodness. No.
I think it's separate fish.
My goodness. That's just a tremendous trout. Wow. That's worth the trip out to Stannard Rock, guys, right
That's
there.
what you come here for.
If we didn't catch another one.
That
Wow.
trout eating the other trout in that
Look
box.
nice on your wall.
That'll look phenomenal on the wall, you bet. That's got to go on the wall. That's got to be a mounter there, you know.
You can keep that jig to hang in its mouth.
There you go.
30-pound plus lake trout. Where are you going to go and catch one of these in the Great Lakes? This is an incredible experience. I don't know that we could ever duplicate this again. But my name is Mark Romanak. You've been watching Fishing 411. If you want to get yourself a wonderful lake trout like this, you want to consider coming to Stannard Rock. You want to seriously consider booking a charter with Kimar's Charters. That is a fish.
Closed captioning for Fishing 411 has been brought to you by Cranberry Creek Marina on Lake Erie at Ruggles Beach. Fishing 411 is brought to you by Offshore Tackle, Vicious Fishing, Jay's Sporting Goods, Okuma, Yakima Bait Company, Starcraft Marine, Evinrude Outboards, and by Anchor Wizard.
We're having an awesome, just an incredible day. Let's go ahead and put this one back. That wasn't me, that's the fish. Are you ready? Let's put this little girl back. Oh, she's ready to go already. Look at that. Zoom, like a rocket.